So I have to ask this before we get on to talking about the dream team in your illustrious career. This trade that's just happened in the NBA, James Harden and Ben Simmons switching teams. You obviously coached Ben Simmons at LSU. And I wanted to get your take on how you expect him to fit in with the Brooklyn Nets and what you've seen going from his college days to from where he was a pretty confident player to kind of what we saw at the end of the playoffs last season. How do you think he's changed as a player? Why do you think that is? If we can dive into that for a little bit, because I'm sure the people at home are very keen to know.
Yeah, since he's engaged to a girl from London, I think. So
yes. Much to the heartbreak of many of my friends.
He's a very good scout of talent from London. Better than BJ and I were as far as when we were drafting players, not with our wives, But she doesn't listen to my podcast anyway, so I can say anything I want regarding it. But anyway, the thing about Ben. And BJ went and saw him when he was, in his high school years in Australia. And then when I got to LSU, I called BJ and said, let me tell you something. This is the most phenomenal kid I've ever seen. We discussed it and everything. He's the best, most talented player I've ever seen enter the NBA.
Explain that, Coach. Explain that, Coach. Explain that.
Bird, Jordan stayed 3 years in college. Bird stayed over 4 years in college.
Magic.
LeBron came in out of high school, but he was ahead of LeBron. He was way more advanced. Imagine that. He's 3 inches taller than LeBron. He was bigger than LeBron coming in. This kid was at 18 years of age. He was 6'10.5", 243 pounds. He was the fastest player on the floor. But I've never seen anyone that could pass like that. I mean, anyone. And his vision.
Magic included?
Magic included at the same age. I mean, Magic made the no-look fancy stuff, but Ben saw everyone and delivered it to everyone. Magic used to wait to make the home run play. Ben will give it up at 3/4 court to a guy racing for a layup. It's a different style, but he's so much faster than Irving was in the open court. I heard him this morning at his press conference in Brooklyn say, this is going to be fun because we're going to play at the pace I like with Steve Nash, which I agree. Brooklyn played very slow with Harden, very slow. Their pace was one of the slowest in the NBA. And because James also dribbled a lot. So they didn't take shots very early in the shot clock. This is a guy that's going to get the ball, and he gets excited when he throws the ball to someone to make a shot. Seth Curry, Kyrie Irving, all these guys Patty Mills and now Durant, all those guys driving to the basket, dumping it off for Drummond. I think it's going to be really, really special for him. But I think the part, BJ, about him was he did not need to come to college. The rules made him come to college, but he was ready. He physically and mentally, basketball-wise, was ready for the NBA. I've never seen a player on the court against NBA players that no one in the NBA can stay in front of him. That's it. Irvin was a guy that it was easy to stay in front of because he was so strong. He just backed you in. This guy is so fast, no one can stay in front of him. That was the nemesis to really stop him from my encouragement of you need to develop your shot. Why, Coach? I don't have to take it. I can get by everyone. He understands now, but that was my thing. I just pray for him that he just really gets back to loving the game, loving the best part of NBA basketball is being on a great team with great teammates.
Right.
And he expressed that this morning that he's really looking forward. He went, 8-9 months without that. So I'm hoping that really comes full circle for him. And I think Kevin Durant and I think Steve Nash is the perfect coach for him because Steve played the position so well.
So, I just wanted to expand on just something you just said there real quick. Sorry, BJ. When you said to him about practicing his outside shooting and he said, I don't need to, I can get by everyone. So is it been the 3-point shooting has been a thing he's never been interested in developing because he's got that? Because we hear things in the media and fans say a lot of stuff of he's scared to shoot this shot. So are you saying it's simply he thinks he's good enough that he doesn't need to even shoot those shots?
No, I think when he was a freshman in college, when he was 18 years old, my whole thing when I was brought into LSU to coach him because they promised him that he would have an NBA coach tutor him, basically. And the coach that was there prior to me was Eric Musselman, who had been in the NBA, actually worked with Chuck and I in Orlando when BJ was there. But Eric's the coach of Arkansas now, and he went to the University of Nevada at that time from LSU. So they had to scramble in July to try to get me to come there. And the only reason I didn't stay in the NBA was my daughter went to LSU, and my wife said, "Oh, I want to go to Baton Rouge." So that's why we went to Baton Rouge. And I would have preferred Oklahoma City, I think, but anyway, we went there, and so my thing to him was really simple. I said, I'm not worried about you being the first pick in the draft. That's not what this is about. I'm not worried about you becoming the rookie of the year. I'm worried about you. I want you to become the MVP in this league. That's how good you are. So I set the bar super high. And then when we would work together, I would say, you're good enough right now to be the first pick. You're good enough to be rookie of the year. But to do the other stuff, you need a complete game. And that's still the conversation. A lot of things have, gotten mixed up in the thing prior to that, but he still has to. 3-point shot to me is not important for him. He just has to be able to make 17 to 20 foot shots, not 23 foot shots.
I think the free throws is the most important.
Oh, well, see, he shot very good free throws for us. He was over 70%. He made 17 or 19 free throws in one game for us. Right now, mechanically, his elbow is out almost perpendicular. I'm not sure that I know what the hell that is, but it's out to the side, but it's crooked. And so he needs to straighten it out. I can't believe that, they couldn't correct that. It's really simple. And then it's confidence. And I don't think a lot of people would say when you lose confidence as an athlete, golf, basketball, any sport, premier soccer, it's about confidence. That confidence is mental, right? That's mental health, mental skills. And so that's one of the things that great athletes lose the quickest is confidence. And that's from poor performance. So that's what happened there. And I think it just snowballed tremendously in that series against Atlanta last year.
Coach, I remember when he was there and you and I would we talk, and we still talk to this day. There's this one thing, because you've coached great players. I've played with great players. All these great players, they have a presence about them. They walk into a room, they walk into a locker room, they get on the court, they're there. Ben Simmons, without question, is as gifted as a player. He has every tool in the toolbox. He's got the size, strength, and all those things. My question to you is very simple. Where does he fit mentally into this pecking order? As far as, is he the best player? Is he the second best player? Third player? Where does he fit? Because we see the gifts. Mm-hmm. And you've coached him, you know him. Where does he fit in all this with his natural personality? Where does he fit into this?
Yeah, that's a great one. So from a physical standpoint, he's at the very top of the league, top 10 physical athletes. But what makes the guys that really excel in the top 10 is that they have that incredible mental skills, those mental Isaiah, Chris Paul, those guys, man, they're so mentally tough, and they're not. And I think that's what makes them great.
Is that a
but
born skill, or is that something that a player can learn?
I think personally, Mo, I think it's more born,
Mhm.
and then you can get someone to help it. You know, uh, just like a coach. He can. It's got to be a real expert in that field, not in the field of psychology as much as a combination. I think nowadays, I think the best mental skills coaches are ones that really have expertise in the sport and in that area. Boy, that's hard to find someone who does. But I think that is the thing. And it's not easy because it can come and go so quickly. But the ones that I mean, every athlete in every sport, when they perform poorly, you see, boy, that there's a drop unless you're so strong that can keep it. That's my hope for him is that all of a sudden he has such a great experience. And the teammates he's around can lift him up because I think when you're with a great team, you can get lifted up by your support people. I think Pippen played better because Jordan and the others were there. I think it's happened all the time. And I just think when you're around greatness, it kind of like gets on you a little bit, hopefully. So he was in a very good state this morning. I was really happy for him. And I think it's obviously a great change for him. So I hope so. My dogs agree. Yes. They love Ben.
No, it's fascinating. What fans have their takes on and what the media like to say, and then getting the perspective from someone who's been there and coached him and seen him grow as as a player. My question is now, do you think that his fit with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving is a good fit? Because as talented as Ben is, he's great at finding guys and getting them easy looks, whereas Kyrie and KD are notorious for creating their own looks off the dribble. How much do you expect their games to be elevated by the presence of Ben Simmons on that team?
I think it could go through the roof. I really do. Because the one thing about when you're a great player like KD, if you can get into the open court to get easy shots so the whole defense can't stack up on you, I'll put Kevin against anyone one-on-one. Kyrie is one of the most gifted players we've ever seen in the league, a total magician. I think he's one of those guys that, BJ was a point guard, Kyrie is a point guard. This guy is a scorer. He's a point guard masquerading as a scorer. And so I think just saying to him, don't worry about bringing the ball up the court, go up there and score. I think he could be unstoppable. I really do. The thing about Ben is he's 6'11" now. He's grown almost an inch since he's been in the league, 6'11 and a half almost. And so he has a terrific post-up game. And that's where you can really do some damage on. Who's going to guard him? Like Draymond Green, guards CP3 when they play Phoenix because he's not super fast.
Mm-hmm.
Ben's too fast for that matchup to happen. Let's say you got to put someone small and quick, but now he can go in. He's one of the best rebounders in the league. I just think, but they also have some really good players in Patty Mills and Seth Curry that can flat out make shots. So
and Joe Harris when he returns.
Right.
Yeah, if we can ever get his ankle better, I'll give him my ankle. Until he's healthy, I'll give him my ankle.